Hey guys, welcome back. Kevin here, Trooper Fix channel. So I wanted to give you a review today on my Smittybilt roof rack, and I've gotten a lot of questions on that, and I wanted to show it to you. I've got it all installed here, and as you can see, it turned out great. Now, super happy with it so far. I did have one little problem whenever I got it in and I started installing it. I was missing a bracket, so huge pain. So I ended up calling Smittybilt, and they sent me a new one, but it was a little bit of a hassle because I had to send them my receipt and send them a picture of the bracket I needed. And you're not going to steal a bracket from them, so I had to go through that whole process, and finally I got the bracket in and I was able to install it. Now, my tip on drilling holes in your roof to install these roof racks. So obviously it's a little bit hairy drilling a 1/2-inch hole in the roof of your vehicle. And whenever I was starting on the first few holes, I was using a drill bit like this. And if you'll notice, looking at this bit up close, the tip goes into the roof first. And what was happening, whenever this corner right here would catch the metal, it would actually tear it. So instead of having a perfect hole, it would end up torn open like this. It would peel up a piece of the metal. So I was able to kind of form it back into shape and get it to work. But what I ended up doing, it worked out so much better, is I got a bit like this. And if you'll look really close, what happens, this bit drills from the edges first. So you end up, instead of like a wood bit like this, who's going to drill the point first, you end up with a bit like this that actually cuts a hole instead of drilling in a cone shape. So what I ended up with was a perfectly shaped 1/2-inch hole to install the roof with. It worked so much better, and so I only ended up with 1 or 2 of those really bad holes, and I think I got them patched up where it's not gonna make a difference. But definitely get you a bit, and I forget what they're called, but they drill a circle instead of drilling sort of a cone shaped. The other tip that I could give you was the silicone that you want to put around the holes. I ended up using this silicone here, and it is called Psychoflex, and I did a little bit of research, and Psychoflex 221, and I did some research, and this seemed to have the best ratings and reviews, and I would have a tendency to agree with that. Now, the way that I ran the lights, instead of drilling a hole in my roof to run my lights, what I ended up doing, and this was really trick how this turned out, everything that came in from the battery, I ended up going underneath and running along the frame, and then everything from the back here, let me show you what I did because it turned out really trick. So what I did on this back was I ran all of my lights, my wires for my lights, down here, down the door jamb, and drilled this hole here, right here. And then I went underneath and I brought everything up under this back seat. And then from the back seat, I have my relays and everything, and then I just went right under here, under the carpet, and up into my switches. And that way I did not have to drill an extra hole in my roof, and I ended up running my switches up here under the console, and there they are there. Now, the middle one is not lit up yet because the middle one is going to get power once I get my bumper installed. And I have a move bumper kit that I'm going to be welding up, and it is right here. And so you can see I've got to weld all of this up, and whenever I do, I have some really nice Rigid Industries lights that I'm going to be putting on the bumper. And that's what that middle switch is for. But while I had everything pulled out, I went ahead and ran that switch, and I have the wires under the hood rolled up. And so once I get started welding the bumper up, I will hook that switch up and it's all ready to go. It just needs power. So if you're installing one of these Smittybilt roof racks, I would recommend them. They're really highly rated. I'm real happy with it. It seems really well built. I went ahead and got the extra rack for the high lift jack, and then on the other side you can see here I got the bracket to install the shovel and the axe. And so I'm pretty happy with it so far. It seems super strong. Just a little scary drilling holes in your roof. So I think there was 6 down each side, so 12 holes total. But most of them turned out good. Use the right bit. Subscribe, like. Thanks, guys. Next video, we may be working on that bumper.